What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my pretty much like little mini preview or draft advice for Fantasy Football 2016. So I will be covering my top 10 sleepers, top 10 busts, and then top 25 rankings as well as a few just like tips and regular advice for your fantasy football drafts. Again, I know this is early, but Yahoo, ESPN, Fox Sports, they've all already opened up their fantasy football leagues and people are already starting to draft. So I figured I'd jump on it a little bit early and go ahead and get it done. So go ahead and start with my top 10 busts. Now this is probably going to be the most disagreed upon part that I do for this video. Again, all these are based on mostly my own opinion. Obviously, I looked at other rankings and stuff like that to get an idea, but I already did my first mock draft yesterday and started to get an idea of where people were ranked and where people were getting drafted. So go ahead and start with my number 10, and that's Chris Ivory, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just don't like the situation the Jaguars are in right now for the offense when it pertains to Chris Ivory. I don't think he's going to have near the production he did last year with the New York Jets. He's already splitting backfield time with TJ Yeldon. I think TJ Yeldon's the presumed starter heading into the season. Now, obviously, if something happens like Yeldon gets injured, then obviously that throws Ivory in. But Chris Ivory's getting drafted with like tier 2 running backs. He is in the top 32 running backs, and I just don't agree with that. Again, it's a pass-first offense as well. He's not a guy that's going to catch an extreme amount of passes out of the backfield. And again, it's just not a good situation for him. At number 9, I got Doug Baldwin, the wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I don't necessarily think that Doug Baldwin's bad, but I don't think he's a top 15 wide receiver like pretty much every ranking has him in. Some even have him top 10. Again, I'm not drafting him that high. He is just in, like I said, just a different style offense with the Seattle Seahawks. One good season does not make me think that he will be good long term. And this could be a Seattle offense that sees a little bit of regression this year by losing Paxton Lynch. So at number 8, I got the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, Justin Forte. For a couple of reasons, I don't think he's a starting quality running back, first of all. Second of all, I think Kenneth Dixon's just waiting to take that starting spot. So at number 7, I've got, this is more or less overrated than a bust. I wouldn't even say overrated. I'd say more injury prone, and that's Jordy Nelson. Now, I do think that Jordy Nelson healthy is a top 20 player this year. But again, he's coming off a season-ending injury. He's had a bunch of injury problems in his career. And I think it's just a little bit of a risk to pick him in the first 2 rounds. Maybe later second would be right around where I would start looking at him, but again, probably not an area that I would look to pick up early, or at least a guy that I would look to pick up early. And at number 6, I've got Hurns, the wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, he could be productive this year, but it was kind of a crazy season last year. This is an offense that looks to Allen Robinson first. He is the primary receiver, and if Blake Bortles even has somewhat of a regression in his stats, then you're going to see a major regression in Allen Hurns' stats from last year. So at number 5, I've got the running back for the Carolina Panthers, Jonathan Stewart. And again, just goes back to the whole health issue. Last year was the first fully healthy year I've seen him have in a long time. If he is healthy, then he's right where he belongs ranking-wise. But again, it's hard to trust him to spend another full season healthy. He's also getting older. Been in the league since 2008. He's not a young running back. So at number 4, I got the quarterback for the Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins. Obvious reasons. I just don't think he's going to have the same type season. Number 3, I got the running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Doug Martin. I just don't like the fact that he got a pretty fat contract, and I mean, I think he deserved it after the season he had last year. Not to say he'll be bad, but I think a lot of that was just a result of that contract year, just motivation to play a little bit up. This is a guy that I believe it was after 2012 started seeing some major regressions in his stats for the next couple of years, and then had a big comeback year last year. So at number 2, I've got the running back for the Arizona Cardinals, David Johnson. Here's my thing with David Johnson. The Cardinals have a deep backfield. I don't think he's going to be the only running back getting touches. He had a fantastic end to the year last year, but again, he's going off a very small body of work. So at number 1, this one's just obvious. Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not. I don't even think he's signed yet, and he's ranked. I actually had someone pick him up in like the 14th round yesterday, so that's just an obvious reason. So get into my top 10 sleepers. Number 10, I've got the running back for the Green Bay Packers, Eddie Lacy. Now, actually, before I go on, I wanted to say that the result, or all my rankings, everything's going to be in the description below if you just want to check out basically like all the, just what all my rankings actually were if you don't want to listen to all the analysis and everything. But anyway, at number 10, I have Eddie Lacy, running back for the Green Bay Packers, for my top 10 sleepers. And I like the situation that Eddie Lacy's coming into this year. He's coming back to an offense. He's coming back to really I mean, obviously he's not coming back to a fantasy football world, but this is a fantasy football season where pretty much everyone's going to be sleeping on him. This is just a football season where I think everyone's going to be sleeping on him. It is still his backfield for the taking. It's still his starting spot. Rough season last year. He was my first round pick last year, I know. Here's my thing with Eddie Lacy. Since he actually did, I believe he took down about 20 pounds this offseason, so that was obviously one of the biggest problems was his weight gain. And then it sounds like he's actually legit committed to getting back to where he was, if not better. Good signs. He's rated as like the 12th to 15th best running back, depending on which one you look at, and he's got the talent to be a top 5 running back if he can get back to that 2014 form. So at number 9, I've got the wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, Kevin White. So didn't play it down last year in the regular season, ended up getting injured, missing the entire season. This is a Chicago Bears offense that I could see having a productive year. I think this is going to be a very good Chicago Bears team this year. Alshon Jeffery still the primary receiver, still probably the guy that's going to get the tightest coverage. And if Jay Cutler has a 3,500 to 4,000 yard season, then I think Kevin White's going to be the guy getting a lot of those looks. So at number 8, I got the wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, Breshad Perriman. I think this is again, another guy that missed last year due to injury, missed his rookie year. So I think this is a guy that could take over as the primary receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, it's a very much aging Steve Smith. Again, a decent deep threat. People compare him to Torrey Smith. There are some differences, but decent possession receiver, fast. I think he's a star in waiting, in my personal opinion. So at number 7, I've got the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, the rookie Kenneth Dixon out of Louisiana Tech. I think the kid's a stud. Again, I mentioned earlier Justin Forsett with my top 10 busts. And again, I mentioned how I think Kenneth Dixon's just the starter in waiting. At number 6, I got the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, Paxton Lynch. I think this could be a good guy to draft maybe second or last 2 rounds. Obviously, he ends up in free agency most drafts. He's in a Broncos offense that has a lot of weapons still. Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, obviously C.J. Anderson in the backfield. And I think Paxton Lynch, I think he's a good quarterback. Obviously, Broncos didn't have the best draft, but I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. So at number 5, I got the wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, Dorial Green-Beckham. Had a good stretch run to the year last year. If he can stay out of trouble and hopefully stay off that path that Kenny Britt took. Again, it could end up being just the Kenny Britt path all over again. But this guy's got all the talent in the world to be a great receiver. Number 4, I got the running back for the Cleveland Browns, Duke Johnson. So I think this will be Duke Johnson's backfield this year. It's supposed to be split between him and Isaiah Crowell to start the season. But I think he's got a higher upside than Isaiah Crowell. Crowell's obviously extremely athletic, but has had trouble in the past. And again, I think that eventually Duke Johnson will just take over the backfield. So number 3, I got the running back for the Miami Dolphins, Ajayi. So the Dolphins are going to always have not always, but I think they're going to still have an offense set up if there's at least a decent running back to have a good season. Ajayi, kid out of Boise State, he is talented. I believe he was a 3rd-round pick. He is the presumed starter right now for the Dolphins, and again, a guy that I think could have a big year. So at number 2, I got the wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Matthews. I still got faith in Jordan Matthews. I have ever since his Vanderbilt days. A rough season last year, to say the least, But I think with a new quarterback, if Carson Wentz can step up and take that stranglehold of the quarterback spot and maybe be like a 2,500, 3,000 yard passer his rookie year, then I think Jordan Matthews will be the primary guy he looks to, and maybe have it's hard to have a worse season than he did last year compared to expectations, but I think he can take that step a lot of people expected him to make last year in 2016. So my number one sleeper is the running back for the Chicago Bears, Jeremy Langford. I think this dude, again, I mentioned this before, I think he's a star in waiting. Played well last year while Matt Forte was injured, and now it is his backfield. Jordan Howard, I think, will compete for some of the touches, but I think this is going to be Langford's starting job for the taking. So now do my top 32. So I will just be ranking out my top 32 players, not separated by position, just top 32. So go ahead and start with number 32, and I got the wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, Demaryius Thomas. Again, I mentioned this earlier with Paxton Lynch. I think this is still an offense that has a lot of talent left on it. If Paxton Lynch can come through and at least be a decent quarterback this year, and Demaryius Thomas can get rid of the whole drop bug that he had last year, could be a big year for him, kind of a resurgent year. So at number 31, I got Doug Martin, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of people have him inside their top 20. I don't think he's going to be that good this year. So number 30, I got the running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde had a very, very solid start to the year last year, but was on an extremely turbulent 49ers offense. I think this is going to be a type of season where he will be the focus. There's not any mess up of who is going to be the focal point of that offense. And I just think that there's that he could have that type of year, good running back on a very bad team. So at number 29, I got the running back for the Green Bay Packers, Eddie Lacy. Number 28, I got the running back for the Seattle Seahawks, Thomas Rawls. Rawls was very solid when he was the starter last year for the Seahawks, and obviously as a starter. Again, backfield's his for the taking this year for the Seahawks. And again, probably going to be more of a pass option first team this year with Russell Wilson. But I think Thomas Rawls has already proven himself that he can handle 15 to 20 carries per game, and could be a big year for him. Number 27, I got the running back for the New York Jets, Matt Forte. I think if Chris Ivory can have a good year in the Jets offense, then Matt Forte can. A lot of people, I think, are still sleeping on Matt Forte. I still think he's one of the best running backs in this league, at least most serviceable. Number 26, I got the running back for the Buffalo Bills, LeSean McCoy. Obviously, this hinges on him being healthy. Number 25, I got the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Quarterbacks have slid down in the rankings this year, so just take that into account. Number 24, I got the wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, Sammy Watkins. Again, another guy that's just kind of a star in waiting. My one reservation about Sammy Watkins this year is if the quarterback situation starts getting screwed up in Buffalo. This is a quarterback in Tyrod Taylor that was running for his life a lot of the time last year, and I think people are going to start zoning in on Sammy Watkins a little bit more too. Just a couple of things to look out for, but I do think he will be a very solid wide receiver this year. Number 23, I got the wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Jordy Nelson. Number 22, I got the wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans. Number 21, I got the running back for the Houston Texans, Lamar Miller. See if he can have a breakout type year with the Texans before Miami Dolphin. Number 20, I got the wide receiver for the New York Jets, Brandon Marshall. It's tough to tell if he's going to be good this year just because of, Christian Hackenberg's probably going to be the starter, so who knows how that's going to go. Number 19, I got the wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, Alshon Jeffery. Number 18, I got the wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off an extremely productive season, Allen Robinson. Number 17, I got the running back for the Denver Broncos, C.J. Anderson. Number 16, I got the running back for the New Orleans Saints, who I think could turn into a top 10 player this year very easily, but that's Mark Ingram. I think some people already have him in their top 10 or just outside. So at number 15, I got the wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals, AJ Green. Number 14, I got the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton. Number 13, got the wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, Dez Bryant. Number 12, I got the running back for the Arizona Cardinals, David Johnson. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of people have David Johnson inside their top 5. He's been the second running back off the boards in a lot of drafts I've seen. Again, not ready to put him in that ballpark yet. I do still think he's going to be a top 15 player this season, though. Number 11, I got the running back for the Atlanta Falcons. Had a breakout year last year, Devonta Freeman. Number 10, I got the tight end for the New England Patriots, Rob Gronkowski. Number 9, I got the rookie running back for the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. I still think that it doesn't really matter who's going to be in that backfield. They're going to have a productive season. Darren McFadden averaged like 4.5 yards per carry last year behind that line. So, again, should be an extremely productive season for Zeke. Number 8, I got the wide receiver for the Houston Texans, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 7, I got the wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, Julio Jones. Number 6, I got the running back. Again, obviously hinging on him being healthy. Running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jamaal Charles. Number 5, I got the wide receiver for the New York Giants, Odell Beckham Jr. Number 4, I got the running back for the Los Angeles Rams, Todd Gurley. Feels weird saying Los Angeles. Number 3, I got the running back for the Minnesota Vikings, Adrian Peterson. Number 2, I got the wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown. And number 1, I got the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Le'Veon Bell. Again, I think it's his time to shine. Finally, his time to take over this league. Is the best fantasy football player in the NFL. So that pretty much does it for this video. Like I said, all these rankings will be posted in the description below, so you can just take a quick look at those. If you did watch through the entire video, that you can just get the quick little recap whenever you feel like looking at it. So that's pretty much it. See ya.